So, Danny, the first question is for you. What inspired you to write Follow Her?
Oh, such a loaded question. Okay, let me think of the simplest answer. Okay, what it was, I had written a different feature first, and there was a podcast I had listened to. I was planning to put all of my energy into this one feature, but this podcast, I think it was Film Trooper, or maybe it was Making Movies is Hard, had said, go make another movie before you make your baby project and go make all your mistakes on that. And that literally shifted everything for me. And I was like, okay, I'm going to write another feature. And that's how it all started.
And how was it like working with Luke as well on this? Because you guys were just great in Follow Her. I mean, he had to be so convincing in his role, right? Like, he had all this going on and it was meta at the same time for him to pull it off. It's kind of like Behind the Mask, the rise of Leslie Vernon that he's doing with his character here. So having somebody like Luke on set with you, that had to be fascinating to watch as well.
I mean, it was the best. Honestly, and Luke, I don't even know if I've said this to you, but I feel like you ran that set in a sense. Like if it wasn't for Luke on set, I don't know if we would have been able to pull it together. And it was even from the first audition tape that Luke sent. I was like, this is it. There was no hesitation in my mind. I was like, he's the guy, 100%. We asked for another tape from him just for fun. I was like, this is exactly who I wrote.
And Luke, same question for you. How was it like working with Danny, also knowing that she wrote the script? I mean, that kind of had to be intimidating as well, knowing she did all this for the film, along with being the star of it as well.
Yeah, it was so much fun. I mean, Dani had to consider so many things. She was juggling having to finish writing and then act and also be producer. And so, but the great thing about Dani, working with Dani, was always that I could talk over the lines and I could say, we could redirect it if we needed to. And she was totally malleable with that. In fact, like we rewrote a fair bit of it and improvised a few times. And so it was good working with the writer who's also the actor, but who also was open to us rewriting, because if it was the opposite, if she was not down to rewrite, it would have been a really awkward process, but she made it easy.
And this goes to both of you. What was it like having Sylvia direct this? Because it was just fantastic with the tension that was created and then the comedic reliefs that was created in the same sequence. It was all this going on. How was it like watching Sylvia juggle all of that as well?
It was awesome. Sylvia really allows actors to play. She just creates the space so that we can go with it and do whatever, bring whatever we want to bring. And she focused a lot on the tension building. So she had done a lot of research prior to directing this film to really understand what you need to do, like around, Alfred Hitchcock films and how you create that tension throughout. And then the comedic stuff is all Luke. Luke put all the comedic lines. Like that's all the stuff that Luke improvised. The best lines in this film are from his improvisation.
Well, and also Sylvia's role was reining me in. I had ideas and things that would have been too far, and I need people like Sylvia to go, no, that yes, there, no. And so she was kind of reining me in, and that's a necessity for me as an actor, because I have a million different ideas or a million different ways I can go, a million different funny things I can think of doing that may detract from the actual story. So she was incredibly helpful to me through that.
And this is for both of you as well. There's this one particular scene. I don't want to spoil the movie, but I think you know which one I'm going to bring up, when it's the torturing and everything on the webcam. And then it just kind of breaks off into like this left turn. And you're like, hold on, wait a minute. When you guys were filming that, were you like, is this really going to hit with audiences, or how far can we push this?
Oh, I had no doubt that it was going to be that it would be the shining moment of the film, and I had no doubt that would be the thing that got people talking the most and would really go, bam, here we go. Now you're like, wow, what is going on? And when I've watched it a few times with friends, I've watched it 3 times with different audiences, and just to see every time people are like, oh, like out loud, even people who aren't annoying to watch movies with make an audible sound.
And Danny,
Yeah.
how is that scene for you as well?
Yeah, same. There was no doubt in my mind that it was never a question for me in that scene of whether it would land or not. Everything was really leading up to that moment. But like it's challenging on set sometimes as the writer when you're not directing. I will say that, because you see things play out a little bit differently. So there were moments following that scene that I was like, oh, this isn't how I envisioned it, but this is cool. This is just different, but very different than what I initially had. Because you don't realize when you're writing sometimes how much you're actually planting all the images in your head. So that was an interesting challenge.
And this is for both of you as well. Does it feel like for having Criver Distribution, having this play in select theaters as well as on demand? Because of course you want people to see this in cinemas as well.
Yeah, ideally. Yeah, Quiver's been great. It's still feels early in the process. Like really things are just starting to ramp up right now. And I know we have one theater booked in LA. So, I mean, Luke's in LA, so probably rally people up for that.
I don't know anything about this, mate. So don't ask me questions. Which theater? You got a theater in LA?
Honestly, I don't know which theater off the top of my head.
Well, you
but
have to send it to
I'll
me,
send you
please.
the deets. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I want to go and watch me.
Yeah. Can never watch yourself too much, right?
No, that's right.
And what are you two looking forward to the most of audiences getting out of Follow Her?
Luke, you go.
I mean, to be honest, like I think it's the great thing about this movie is that it is right now. Like the interesting thing about what Dani's done and what like has been created in this movie is this is a movie that had to preempt where we were going with social media, and it did. And it, like, as in right now, when we release this film, this is exactly what is going on in the world. People are irresponsibly using social media, and it's dangerous. And we need to let people know that. And so that's what I love about the movie the most, and I think is really what's going to hit audiences over the head, and I hope it does.
Yeah, I would second that. I think for me too, it's what's so compelling is towing that line around social media of going too far and the consequences of that. That's one theme in the film that I find particularly interesting, and just watching other influencers journey with that and the repercussions of them taking things too far. So I'm just excited to see how, I think there's a timelessness in this film, even though it is so relevant around social media. I don't think social media is going anywhere for a long time, maybe ever. So I think, yeah, there is a sense of timelessness in that, within that theme.
Well, Danny and Luke, thank you so much for joining me today on Infamous Horror. It's been so much fun, and congratulations on the film.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much,
Nice
mate.
to meet you.